Hi, I'm YouTube Vids, and I'm going to be talking about my list of the 25 things that don't make sense in the movie Bad Santa. If you have not seen this movie yet, I suggest watching it first before watching the rest of this video. There will be spoilers, and I will not be held liable for spoiling the movie for you. I'll start by introducing the main characters involved in this list. The characters will be listed in the order in which they appear in the movie. Willie is the bad Santa. He is disguised and functions somewhat similar to a Santa you see in shopping malls during the holidays. The exception is that Willie is a criminal who also robs the shopping malls he is an employee of, and he has a bit of a drinking problem. Marcus is Santa's elf, or at least that's what he'd like us to think. He is actually Willie's partner in crime, and in fact is the mastermind behind the crimes. Marcus is responsible for getting himself and Willie hired as employees by various shopping malls. Bob Chapesca is the general manager at the Phoenix shopping mall, in which the majority of the movie is centered around. Bob is not good with confronting others and often finds himself asking his security chief for help. Gin Slagel is the security chief at the Phoenix shopping mall. Gin isn't afraid to make bold moves to take down criminals, and he also isn't afraid to break the rules. Lois is Marcus's partner in crime and girlfriend. She is materialistic, and during the holiday season is known for providing Marcus a list of things to steal for her. Thurman Merman, aka The Kid, is an innocent little boy with a kind heart who finds himself attached to Willie, the bad Santa. Thurman is mostly responsible for bringing out Willie's good side throughout the movie, but also cleverly tortures Willie with various lines of questioning. As a precursor to talking about the movie, I do want to say that while this is a list of things that don't make sense about it, I don't discourage you from watching the movie if you've never seen it. I love the movie myself and I watch it often. It's one of my favorites. However, after watching the movie so many times and studying the story and watching really carefully, I started to see things that didn't make sense, and therefore I wanted to make this list. Now, let's talk a little bit about the movie itself. Bad Santa can be summed up as a movie of good versus evil. As previously mentioned, Willie and Marcus are partners in crime who go to various shopping malls throughout the country, pose as Santa and Elf during the holidays, and then they eventually rob the shopping mall. They are able to escape and evade by using fake names and moving around. A small portion of the movie is used to show off their capabilities and tell a little bit about who they are. Willie and Marcus eventually find themselves in Phoenix for their next gig. Willie meets Thurman, who is one of the kids who came to see Santa at the shopping mall. Throughout the movie, Willie starts to develop good traits after meeting Thurman, while at the same time Marcus continually tears Willie down for all of his bad traits. Every time Marcus tears Willie down, Willie immediately shows the worst of himself, while Marcus constantly complains about how bad Willie has gotten over the years. One day, as Willie decides to try to kill himself, he gives Thurman a letter to give to the EMTs. Little did Willie know, Thurman gave the letter to the police even though Willie did not successfully kill himself. The letter ultimately ended up saving Willie's life towards the end of the movie and gave him new hope. Now that you know a bit more about the movie, or refresh your memory of it, let's move on to the 25 things that don't make sense in the movie Bad Santa. Number 1. In the beginning of the movie, there's a clip where a security officer in the mall has his radio go off, and all we hear is a bunch of scrambled nonsense. However, the security guard coherently responds to that garbled mess with something that may actually make sense, but we'll never know. Clearly this was done as a way to distract the guard without adding another person in front of the camera, but even so, why not have talking we can make sense of coming from the guard's radio? Number 2. Before the heist is set to take place, Marcus had some setup to take care of before eventually opening up a back door to the mall for Willie. Presumably some time took place between the time Marcus disabled the alarm and made his way to the back. However, when Marcus opens the door for Willie, we see Willie standing there with 9 empty beer cans, 8 on the ground and 1 in his hand. If they in theory waited for all staff and guards to leave the parking lot, how in the world did Willie drink so much in so little time? Number 3. As Willie and Marcus are in the back of the van finishing loading things in, the camera shows us a clip of what is in the back. All we see is money primarily with other bags, none of which you can see into. However, as this is taking place, the camera cuts to Lois looking over the driver's seat into the back, presumably looking for something specific. Suddenly she asks Marcus if he got the loofah, to which he just shouts, "Drive!" Since we cannot see the contents of the bags, and presumably neither could she, how did she know he didn't have it? Number 4. After the heist is complete, we see Willie and Marcus sitting at the bar celebrating. Willie asks the bartender for 2 more shots, and Marcus immediately says, "Nah, that's enough for me." Before Willie could even convince Marcus to drink another, the bartender has already poured his next shot, which he eventually does drink. To me, it would seem like the bartender should have been hesitant to pour the drink per Marcus's wishes until the conversation had a chance to unfold. Number 5. Willie is down in Miami and gives us the impression that maybe he accomplished his goal of running a bar on the beach, only for us to find out that wasn't true. As he's pouring his drink, the bartender comes into the scene and starts yelling at him to put down his drink, actually asking him, "How many times do I have to tell you to not come behind my bar?" I do have to ask, if this guy has been coming behind your bar so often, where the heck are you where you're not watching after your bar or the customers? And second, if this is a recurring problem, how come you haven't alerted the authorities? Number 6. In a follow-up to number 5, we see a scene here where Willie is starting to get thrown over the bar. This was an awkward clip to say the least, as the bartender took a lot of time to throw him over. However, if you see the guy behind Willie, he's reacting as if someone has already been thrown over the bar. He's looking down towards the ground and even jumps back in the clip as if he's expecting this to unfold quicker than it actually did. Number 7. When Willie and Marcus are shown walking through the parking lot at the shopping mall in Phoenix, we see Willie drinking from a bottle of liquor. Willie throws the bottle at the end of the "Let It Snow" song. It breaks on a car windshield and even shatters the entire windshield. This is not possible. You can look for videos of people who take sledgehammers to windshields, and in a single shot from that is not enough to shatter an entire windshield, much less a glass bottle. Number 8. Bob Chapesca is trying to explain to the recently released Santa why he brought in new guys. During the exchange, the old Santa refers to Marcus as a midget, and Bob Chapesca takes offense to that, in a sense. Bob goes out of his way to begin explaining that midget is not the proper word, but then gets cut off before he can finish his thought. The problem with this exchange, as seen later in the movie, is Bob is not known to be politically correct himself. Therefore, having him act that way here is actually a contradiction to his character throughout the rest of the movie. Number 9. Just prior to Willie and Marcus meeting up with Bob Chapesca in the shopping mall, there is a short clip where a girl with a blue purse, white and blue striped shirt, brown shopping bag, gray sweatpants, a coffee, and tennis shoes begins to walk in front of Marcus. The camera switches to a close-up of Bob as he engages Willie and Marcus in conversation. Eventually, however, after a minute or so into that conversation, we see a woman's head walk by Willie, and eventually they cut to Willie staring at this woman's butt. The problem here is, where the hell did she go? Clearly this was a director's snafu, but if the girl was in front of Marcus before the conversation began, then how had she not passed between them within the first 30 seconds or so of said conversation, giving her walking pace? Number 10. After Bob Chapesca meets with Willie and Marcus, he is already concerned, so he goes to talk with the mall security chief, Ginn. When Ginn is listening to Bob, the camera shows security monitors behind Ginn. If you look at the monitors closely, go ahead and pause the video here if you have to, you can see that the monitors only have a handful or less of distinct areas of the mall being monitored. 4 monitors show the same image, while 2 others show the same image, and another 2 show the same image. I'm no security chief, but I would think that in a shopping mall you'd have better security coverage than this. As an added bonus to this scene, if you look at Ginn's desk, you'll notice a huge ashtray with a lot of cigarette butts, and in the top right corner of the scene, you'll see a no smoking sign. Number 11. The first and only time we see the female elf make an appearance in the movie, Marcus has a quick conversation with her where he asks if she's seen the new Santa. She says something to the effect of, yeah, he's over in the back there, drunk. She says this in a snobby, kind of airheaded or dim-witted kind of way. However, shortly after, she appears in another clip where she tells a girl that is sitting on Santa's lap to say cheese. She says this in a normal, almost Boston-sounding accent. Similar to my issue with the consistency with Bob's character earlier on, I take exception to the girl not sounding the same in scenes so close together. Number 12. This item on the list is a big one really because it's seen throughout the entire movie. Just about every single interaction Wooly has with a child involves swearing. If this guy was just some regular dude trying to be Santa during the holidays, he would have been fired day one and never allowed to work a job where interaction with a child was involved. Number 13. The I'm not gay guy. When Willie is sitting at a bar panning over the variety of people talking, he comes across this guy staring a hole into him. Willie reacts with a "what?" which leads to the bartender talking with him. However, outside the bar, Willie is approached by this guy who proclaims emphatically that he is not gay at least 2 times. He then proceeds to start physically attacking Willie and shouting homosexual references towards him. Thurman comes in to save Willie, which seemed to be the overall point of the scene, but the homosexual references here really had no purpose. Number 14. Nobody seems to know Grandma's name. When Willie takes Thurman home, a conversation reveals that Thurman's dad has been in jail for a while, and his mom is dead. When asked who takes care of him, he says, "Grandma." When Willie follows up asking her name, Thurman replies again, "Grandma." Knowing Thurman goes to school and his parents have been gone a while, it truly makes no sense that he doesn't know his grandma's name. She's never had to sign report cards or permission slips. What makes this completely absurd is, later in the movie when Gin goes to speak with Thurman's dad, his dad also refers to her as just Grandma. Number 15. As Thurman walks Willie into his home, Thurman tells Grandma that Santa is here. Grandma gets up out of her chair and says, "Oh, Roger, you're home. Let me fix you some sandwiches," before she even sees who's there. She then walks towards Willie and stares at him through his ski mask and smiles and doesn't say another word. Why in the world does Grandma equate Santa to Thurman's dad, who is in jail for embezzling funds and isn't exactly a traditional robber? Number 16. In his first visit to Thurman's home, Willie manages to get Thurman to show him where his dad's safe is. Willie is seen taking money from the safe and goes along with Thurman's reasoning for needing it. Willie then asks Thurman's dad if Thurman's dad has a car, which he proceeds to drive off with. How in the world did Thurman and his grandma not realize they were being robbed? Number 17. Willie is trying to sleep and Thurman is going through a slew of things he's asking if Willie wants. When Thurman asks if Willie wants Thurman to fix him some sandwiches, Willie lashes out with, "What is it with you and fixing effing sandwiches?" The interesting part of this exchange is that prior to this point, only a grandma had asked about making sandwiches, so it seemed like they emphasized this point very, very early in the movie before it was asked again a couple or a few times later. Number 18. Marcus drills into Willie about his sexual relations. During a scene where Willie, Marcus, and Lois are eating in the mall, Willie is explaining to Marcus why hanging out at Thurman's house is okay. Willie mentions Grandma being there, to which Marcus asks if Willie effed her. Willie flips out asking why everything with him is about sex, which is odd because it never previously came up in the movie other than through actions of Willie. But they get into this argument where Marcus is dragging Willie through the mud about his choice of sexual behavior. Prior to this scene, Willie's sexual relations weren't a big factor, nor played a significant role, so other than for giving Marcus another reason to put Willie down, I don't understand the point of this clip. Number 19. Gin catches a kid attempting to steal an Xbox game, yes, from the original Xbox, from the mall. Once he removes the game from the kid's boxers and puts it back on the shelf, he asks the kid about his MP3 player. Wooly proceeds to demand the kid to give him the MP3 player, and the kid objects, but Gin starts to pull it off of him. He even says, "I don't care if I choke you to death." Now, this could be a way to teach someone a lesson, but if this were really to take place, the security chief likely would be charged for stealing from the kid, and nobody could do this without ending up in some trouble with the law. Number 20. While making a present out of wood for Willie, Thurman cuts his hand. He comes running down the stairs, screaming about his hand, and runs to the sink in the kitchen. Willie follows him there and opens a bottle of liquor and pours some on Thurman's hand, causing him naturally to scream louder. As Thurman runs away, Willie suggests needing to wrap his hand in a t-shirt and then asks if he needs a band-aid. If you think this is an acceptable way to handle such a situation, please never have kids. That thing needed stitches. Number 21. Perhaps the most awkward yet extremely funny part of the movie came when Thurman got picked on by the skateboard kids for a second time. Thurman approached Willie at the mall with his underwear above his pants. After a short exchange where Thurman tells Willie that he wants a gorilla for Christmas, implying it will be used to beat up the skateboard kids, Willie drops some knowledge on Thurman. After Willie explains that his dad kicked his butt for coming home crying after getting beat up when he was younger, he asks Thurman if he wants to know why, to which Thurman replies, "Because you went to the bathroom on mommy's dishes?" That basically got a WTF out of Willie and a facial expression to boot. Number 22. After Willie saw the skateboard kids gave Thurman a black eye, Willie takes matters into his own hands and goes after the one kid we constantly see picking on him. There's a clip of Willie punching this kid in the face repeatedly against a tree, and the camera pans out to show people in the parking lot behind them. If anyone actually saw this, how are the cops not called? Willie's in his Santa outfit too, so if anyone would have said anything about that, they likely would have found him at the mall. Number 23. One of the most unnecessary actions that took place while robbing the mall happened here. However, this had to be done for theatrics only. There's a clip where Marcus is trying to remove a scarf from a mannequin. First he tries jumping at it to grab it and he can't reach. Secondly, he finds another mannequin holding a golf club, takes it, and then tries to use the golf club as an extension to hook the scarf and pull it down. In both of those scenarios, the mannequin is clearly rocking, indicating it's not exactly secured to the ground. However, the next clip is Marcus using the golf club to chop away at one of the legs of the mannequin to knock it down to obtain the scarf. During this clip, however, they also cut to Willie using a sledgehammer against the front of a safe trying to force it open. Regardless, given the lack of stability of the mannequin, it would have been easier for Marcus to just shove it over and get the scarf that way. Number 24. Willie just fled the scene of an attempted heist at the shopping mall. He led the cops on a chase back to Thurman's house where he's attempting to bring Thurman his Christmas present that he stole. The cops get out of their car and one of them yells multiple times into a megaphone to stop and turn around. When Willie fails to comply, the cops just start lighting him up. Given all of the shots we see successfully hit, indicated by the puffs of feathers in the air, ultimately there is only blood that shows as Willie collapses behind his shoulder blades. You never see any blood on the front of him, and there are visible holes on the back of his coat that do not have blood around them. This may have been a malfunction of sorts, or a director oversight. At first I thought maybe it was an attempt to bring down the rating of the movie, but by this point it was already rated R, so why hold back or take away from the scene? And last but not least, number 25. In a letter to Thurman, Willie tells him that he'll be home soon, and that the police are going to make him a sensitivity counselor, and the shooting of an unarmed Santa at the hands of the police was compared to being the worst thing since Rodney King. Given that Thurman had previously given the police a letter from Willie indicating all of the crimes he committed with Marcus, not to mention the active heist they caught him at, and the chase back to Thurman's house. How in the world could he be exonerated from all of that? I hope you enjoyed my list of 25 things that don't make sense in the movie Bad Santa. I realize some things in the list were a stretch, and I do realize that this is just a movie, but I thought this would be something fun to do, and it was. If you think I missed something, be sure to leave me a comment and let me know what it was. If you liked the video, give me a like. If you don't like the video, give me a like. If you want to see more videos like this one, leave feedback in the comments and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.